Hey guys, Bingocat here. So today I will be reviewing my 2012 MacBook Air. Now I originally bought this computer in June of 2013, so I've had this computer for almost 5 years now, so I like to think I know what I'm talking about when I review this computer for you guys. So I actually originally bought this computer for college use. I mainly just wanted something that was portable, but still plenty powerful for the tasks that I wanted to do. So yeah, I decided to pick up a MacBook Air. Now the reason I picked up a MacBook over, let's say, a Windows laptop at the time was because when I went to go and buy a computer, this was at the time that Windows 8 was the operating system Microsoft was trying to push. And I did not like Windows 8. I did not like the start screen or Metro user interface. I just did not like it. So I decided I was just going to go ahead and buy a MacBook. Let's go ahead and take a look at the actual laptop itself. So MacBooks are famous for their aluminum unibody design, and this MacBook Air is no different. I believe they actually originally came out with this specific MacBook Air design in 2010, but don't quote me on that. So it's aluminum all around the body. And if you take a look at the bottom here, it has 4 stands on the bottom, so this will lay nice and smoothly on the desk without scratching the underside. Now, if you want to replace any of the parts inside here, most parts inside this computer can't be replaced, like the RAM, unfortunately. And Apple, because it's Apple, has proprietary screws on the computer, so you can't get into the computer as easily to replace parts, which kind of sucks for someone like me who would love to replace the parts inside their MacBook. But the goal with this MacBook was to be as thin and light as possible at the time. Now if you look on the right side of the laptop here, you got your Thunderbolt 2 port, USB 3.0, full-size SD card slot. If you look at the left side of the laptop here, you have MagSafe 2, another USB 3.0 port, a headphone jack, which once again, you don't see that in all modern electronics anymore. And in the hands, this laptop really doesn't feel that heavy, and it's definitely plenty thin. You can still slip this under a door crack if you wanted to. It is not the lightest laptop in the world by 2018 standards, but it is totally acceptable. Looking at the inside of this laptop, once again, all aluminum except the keys and the screen. Definitely a pretty good looking interior. The build quality of this laptop is still great even today. It's aged fairly well. As far as the design of this laptop goes, it looks a little bit dated today. Don't get me wrong, this laptop still looks great, but lots of people would complain probably about the relatively big bezel surrounding the screen, which to me is not a huge deal, but whatever. So on the inside of the laptop here, of course, you got the trackpad, which, by the way, if you never used a MacBook trackpad in your life, I highly recommend doing so. MacBook trackpads are pretty much the best trackpads on earth from all the trackpads that I've tried. No single Windows laptop or Chromebook has a trackpad as nice as one in a MacBook, even from a MacBook from 5 years ago, or even from 2009. Seriously, trackpads and MacBooks are that good. And I also like it how the trackpad in this MacBook actually clicks down, unlike the newer MacBooks. I just do not enjoy the new Force Touch trackpads in the newer MacBook. It's just not actually having a real clickable trackpad and instead having a haptic feedback engine. I don't know, to me it feels weird, it just doesn't feel natural, and I just don't like it. Now, the keys on the keyboard, I believe these are actually chiclet keys, but they're definitely comfortable to type on. My hands do not hurt at all after typing on here for hours, and I find myself typing rather quickly using these keys. Now, the screen on the computer itself is probably one of the areas on the computer that has unfortunately aged the worst. The screen itself was okay, not the best, but not the worst looking back in 2013. But in 2018, the screen is honestly just, it's just not that good. The colors just aren't the most accurate colors in the world. The resolution is kind of low for a 13-inch laptop. It's acceptable, but I have a higher resolution display on my phone than on a 13.3-inch screen here, so it's what the heck? I mean, even in 2013, they had phones with 1920 by 1080 displays, and this computer still only has a 1440 by 900 display, so it's like, what the heck's going on here? Now, the one thing that kind of disappoints me about this computer was this computer unfortunately does thermal throttle when the temperatures get hot. This computer is probably best suited for like web browsing or document editing or just lighter tasks. Alright, so I actually forgot to mention this while recording my review. Battery life is still good in my MacBook. It's not as good as it used to be, it still has the original battery inside, but battery life still lasts me for hours. I believe when it was new, it lasted me for like 6 or 7 hours before needing a charge if I was just doing stuff like web browsing and Word documents and stuff like that. And nowadays it only lasts me like 3 or 4 hours, but battery life still lasts hours. I'm still happy with it. I am getting a message on my MacBook that I should service the battery, which I took it to Apple to be serviced, and they said there was nothing wrong with my battery, and they just reset the error message so it wouldn't show up anymore. And now it's showing up again, so I might take it to be serviced again in the future, but the battery is still lasting for hours, so I really have no complaints there, especially for a laptop that's almost 5 years old. Now, the operating system I have installed on here, by the way, is macOS High Sierra. I haven't had any problems with High Sierra, unlike a lot of people. And this computer, by the way, originally shipped with OS X Mountain Lion on there, but I have since then upgraded it all the way to High Sierra. Alright, let's go ahead and turn on the computer. By the way, I disabled the Mac startup sound, so that's why you did not hear the Mac startup sound. Alright guys, so I had to do a cut because I had to type in my super secret passcode, but I'm going to go ahead and click cancel here because I forced the computer to turn off earlier, so now we're going to let it boot back up. And start times were acceptable. You guys didn't see part of the video, but the computer started up in less than 30 seconds, which is more than acceptable to me. So here we go on the desktop of macOS High Sierra, and I chose the Happy Face Mac for the desktop because I thought it looked cool. As you guys can see, I'm running macOS High Sierra version 10.13.12, and this is a mid-2012 MacBook Air with 1.8 gigahertz processor, 8 gigs of RAM, Intel HD Graphics 4000. So how's basic things on this computer? Like, how's web browsing? Web browsing on here is actually still pretty good. We're going to go ahead and use Firefox for a change instead of Chrome because why not? Firefox took a few seconds to load there, but it'd pretty much do the exact same thing on like a modern MacBook or Windows computer. So let's go to a website. We're going to go to CNN.com and let's see how long this loads. CNN is overall a fairly cluttered website. It loaded pretty quickly, actually. Let's say we were to go to, I don't know, let's actually go to Fox News this time. Foxnews.com. And that loaded fairly quickly, definitely loaded within an acceptable amount of time. But the ultimate question is, how's video watching on this computer? So let's say we're to go to youtube.com, and yeah, that was definitely an acceptable loading time. Let's go ahead and go to one of my videos. Hey guys, Bingocat here, and welcome to my... So it defaulted to 480p, but you can of course put it to whatever you want. So we're going to do 1080p 60 FPS. And as you guys can see, the video is playing back smoothly. There's absolutely no hiccups. Let's go ahead and try a 4K video to see how it runs. Oh, this only goes up to 1440p. It's probably because I'm using Firefox, so let's go ahead and actually open Chrome just to watch this video. Alright, here we are in Chrome, and let's go ahead and full screen this video for you guys. Now it defaulted to 720p, but you can go all the way up to 4K if you really want. And let's see how this performs using 4K. So it might just be the internet, but it took a little while to load. Doesn't seem to really like 4K playback that much in Chrome, Let's try some other basic stuff on here, like let's try Office applications like Word. Now let's go ahead and create a blank document. This is Bingocat. So definitely probably usable for Office tasks. But Bingocat, you may go, all I want to know is if this laptop can play games. Yes, it can play games, but it cannot play modern 3D intensive games well. I actually have a couple of games I can go ahead and give a try on here, like I have Minecraft. Alright, so I got the Minecraft launcher running here, and we're going to go ahead and actually play 1.11.2 with Optifine. By the way, if you want to play Minecraft, especially on lower-end computers or older computers, I highly recommend Optifine. In fact, I actually run Optifine on my desktop with a 1080 Ti because it really just does make the game run a lot smoother. So let's go ahead and join the Hypixel server. Probably will suck at navigating without a mouse, but it should give you guys a fairly good idea of how Minecraft will run. And once again, Minecraft can run on a potato, and especially with the Optifine mod, but Minecraft is definitely playable on here. Of course, it would be faster on a computer with dedicated graphics. Now, let's go ahead and check my graphics settings. I think I'm running this on relatively low render distance and fast graphics. Now, if I were to turn this to fancy and increase my render distance to 32, yeah, it's still definitely playable. Now, I brought up the FPS counter here. I am getting like 29 FPS, which definitely acceptable. If you're into like 60 FPS or more, you're probably better off buying a computer with a dedicated graphics card or a computer with brand new Intel integrated graphics or AMD integrated graphics or whatever. But games like Minecraft are definitely playable, and older 3D games like games from the 2000s, like I used to run like Battlefield 1942 on here, are definitely completely playable using this computer. I would not expect to be running like Battlefield 1 on here or Rainbow Six Siege or any game like that, but you can also play games like CSGO, which CSGO runs on a potato, but nevertheless, you can still play quite a few popular games on this computer. Alright, so I have CSGO running here, and if we go and look at the graphical settings, let's see what it defaults to. Oh, it auto defaults to high, medium, high. Not bad. Okay. Not bad. Alright, I had to turn on the frame rate counter. I'm getting 25 FPS, which isn't the best in the world, but it is definitely acceptable. Of course, I got killed immediately when going into the game because I was more concerned with checking out my FPS count instead of actually playing the game. So now I'm getting like 22, 21 FPS. And yeah, I'm going to suck at this game because once again I'm using a trackpad and not a freaking mouse. But whatever. Oh, and this is just the warm-up and I already got killed like twice. 44 FPS, 45 FPS, and the graphics look okay, they don't look that bad. Alright, final verdict time. Would I recommend buying a 2012 MacBook Air in 2018? And my answer is only if you need a Mac for cheap. Otherwise, there are much newer Windows laptops that would probably cost the same price that this MacBook would cost on eBay that will give you better performance. I believe these are still going for like $400, $500 on eBay because, you know, it's a Mac. Once again, although this computer is still perfectly usable in 2018, I recommend only buying this computer if you need a Mac on the cheap side. Otherwise, much better and newer Windows alternatives exist to this computer. So yeah, thank you for watching, guys. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And please check out my Twitter, Instagram, and Discord linked down below in the video description. As always, I thank you guys for watching. Goodbye.